So there's some information that God has for us, but there's a process that needs to takes place. And there are, as we said, as I stated, about the levels and the security clearances in the natural sense. There are security clearances in the spiritual sense as well. That's why we know in part. We don't know everything. Mm-hmm. We only know in part. Mm-hmm. And so there's some information that he wants to release, but he can't release it until there are some things that are removed. So he gave me everything must go.
All right.
Everything must go. But he also gave me preparing in the midst of battle, preparing for victory. So everything must go in the midst of battle, preparing for victory. There's different levels to battle, and sometimes the strategy needs to be reworked. Well, sometimes in the spiritual realm, the battle is going forth and the battle is taking place, but then there's some things that need to be removed or need to be shifted because there's some directions that maybe weren't followed the way that they should have been followed. So the Lord led me to Mark, and we're going to go to Mark, the 14th chapter. And I really wasn't thinking about what day it was, that it was Palm Sunday. I was just thinking about, but what he led me to in the end of it all is very befitting of Palm Sunday.
All right.
Or the events that take place before Easter. And I'm gonna start at the 66th. We're gonna start at the 66th verse. And we're going to read from the 66th verse to the 72nd verse. And if someone has it, they can read. And we can just stand for the reading of the Lord. And Mark, the 14th chapter, verses 66 through 72. When you have it, say amen.
Amen.
If you don't have it yet, say hold on a minute. And somebody can read and everyone can just follow along as we go through this.
Beginning at the 66th verse. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there cometh one of the maids of the high priest. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, And thou also wast with Jesus of Nazareth? But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. And he went out into the porch, and the cock crew. And a maid saw him again and began to say to them that stood by, This is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after, they that stood by said again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. But he began to curse and swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when thou thereon, he wept.
And the word of the Lord is blessed.
Amen.
Now everybody's heard about Peter. Mm-hmm. We know about Peter. And in studying this, I learned a little bit more about Peter. Because we know that Peter was a fisherman when Jesus called on him and told him that he would be fishers of men. And in the natural sense, fishermen were very strong. They're very strong men. They're very strong-willed. They're very vulgar in their speech, as you can see in the verses. They cuss, they swear. They're very bold and boisterous. They say what they mean what they say. They're very bold men. And they may not necessarily be well educated in the traditional sense, but they are very smart in the sense of wits and common sense and knowing how to survive, because they have had to survive on the sea. So they have a sense of survival. They know how to survive. They know how to maneuver in the world, so to speak. And Peter was that type of man. Mm-hmm. He was the type of man. He was very bold in his speech. He said how he felt. He even reacted sometimes as he felt. He acted on his emotions. He was very quick to respond based on how he felt. Mm-hmm. Not really thinking things through all the way. Yeah. And if you follow the story of Peter, there were several times where he did things and Jesus had to kind of correct him. Mm-hmm. Or he'll say things and Jesus kind of had to correct him. Now, he was a follower of Jesus. Yeah. We knew that he loved Jesus. We knew he loved him. You can see his love for him in the midst of his faults, mm-hmm. so to speak. You can see how much he loved him. But when this took place, and I look at the last verse, and he thought about what Jesus said, because if you go up ahead in Mark, the 14th chapter, when they're sitting at the Passover table, mm-hmm. and he's talking to the disciples, and he's talking about where he's going, mm-hmm. and he's telling them, well, where I'm going, you won't be able to go with me. And he's like, Lord, no, wherever you go, I'm going mm-hmm. with you. And he rebukes him. He rebukes him and he lets him know that Satan desires to sift you as wheat. Yes. Now it might not have been in Mark that he said it, because if you look at it, Matthew talks about this. Yes. Mark talks about this. Yes. Luke talks about this. Mm-hmm. And John talks about this. But they all give it in slightly different ways. But see, Mark, the book of Mark, was a collaboration pretty much of two of the disciples. Everything is escaping me right now.
That's all right.
To recount this incident of Peter, to pretty much kind of go through his life, so to speak. So you hear a lot about Peter, in the book of Mark. They go into detail about Peter in the book of Mark, and Jesus lets him know, but even though Satan desires to sift you, even though Satan wants to do this, I'm going to allow him to do this so that I will prove you.
Yes, yes.
So when he gets down to it and Jesus tells him, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times, this was the proving process.
All right.
And it had to take place.
Yes.
Because he had to get to a place where he could remove that which was in him so that God could use him. He was very self-confident. He was very confident in his words. He was very sure of himself. And this incident let him know that, well, maybe you're not as sure as you think.
All right.
And in our society and how we are taught is to be self-reliant, self-confident. Everything is self. I remember when there was a movement, and Oprah kind of helped the movement on, where it was this whole thing. She had, I want to say it was Deepak Chopra, and it was this whole thing of, God is in me and I am God, but the way it was said and the way it was done was just really not giving any acknowledgement to God or a higher being. Just saying it's me. It's me. And if I get myself together, and if I, within myself, that all the power is in me, and I possess the power to do that which, and if I don't do, then it is because I didn't do, and because and everything is I.
Yes,
I don't need anybody else. I
yes.
don't need any help. I have to be the one to be saved. I have to be the one to be. And we know that if you're going to serve God, it's not about I.
Yes.
I is no longer in your vocabulary, because you can't do anything except God.
Yes.
Help you, except God lead, guide, and direct you.
Yes.
And when we look at Peter and this whole thing from the 66 to the 72nd verse, it seems like it was real brief, but in actuality, it was spread out over a course of time, because while this was going on, Jesus was being tried.
All right.
The trial was taking place because everything was happening actually in the same place. He was in the palace. He was just in the courtyard. He was down below, and everybody else, the trial was going up on above him. So what was taking place with him was happening in the courtyard area, but the trial was happening above him on the other side. So everything was happening concurrently. Everything was happening in succession. And it was symbolic, because when you look at Jesus telling him that he was going to deny him. Now, in the process, because when you read this, and if you read it you read it in John or you read it in Luke, they're going to break it up. It's not going to all be in succession like this. Mark put it in succession like this, but it didn't happen in succession like this. You got this going on, then you read something about the trial where Jesus says the cry calls once, and then you hear Jesus say that they're still trying Jesus, and Jesus is responding or not responding to the different questions that they ask. Based on what they ask, he gives a response where he doesn't say anything at all. And then you have them go back to Peter. Now Peter and the damsel comes and says this, that, and the other, and they, I don't know what you're talking about. You sound like them. But you sound just like them. You sound like them. Even your speech. He couldn't hide it if he wanted to. Now the first one, I give him that one. It took him off guard, and he was like, no. But the second and the third response, he knew. He knew by then. He knew, and he just went ahead with it. Was like, nah, I'm gonna keep this up. I don't know y'all. I don't know what y'all talking. I don't know him. I don't even know him. I wasn't with him. I don't know his name. What's his name? He said his name was what? I don't know him. I don't know who that was. I don't know who that is. I don't know who he be. But the truth of the matter was that he knew who he was.
Yes.
That was the one thing. That was the one little thing that he had to remove. Because if you look at his life and the things that he did, Jesus transfigured himself before Peter. Peter was, and he came to him and said, when after he died and everything, and he did all of the things that he needed to do, and when he was spending time with the different disciples, and he said, Simon, do you love me? And if you read, when you read that, and you read how he responds, you see the transformation that took place, because he responds totally different from when he responds to Jesus when he asked him before if he loved him. I love you, I'll die for you, I'll do this for you, I'll kill for you. And when But when Jesus talks to him after everything has taken place, you get a different response from Peter. He's very cautious in his words, and Jesus asked him that 3 times. But Jesus kept asking Peter throughout their time together, Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my lamb. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And so in this instance, when he gets to this, he asks him 3 times, do you love me?
Yes.
And each time, Peter was very wise in his response to let Jesus know, I love you. I know I love you. But right now, I can't give you the same answer that I gave you before. Because I know that I am a man, and as a man, I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm not going to do things always the way that you want. This taught him that he couldn't just be, oh, yes, I got it, and I'll always have it, and I'll never lose it, and I'll never leave you, and I'll never forsake you, because Jesus doesn't forsake us. God doesn't forsake us, but we forsake him. And we don't always mean to forsake him. We're not always trying to forsake him. It's not always our intention to forsake him. And we have had instances where we've been like Peter too, where there were times where we were sitting around and people were saying stuff and we knew we should have spoke up and we should have said something and spoke out about God and not even sat in the midst of the conversation that we were sitting in the midst of, but we stayed there and we said nothing. We said nothing. We didn't say anything. We didn't do anything. And the Lord wants us to get to a place where we can speak out and say, and even as Peter became Apostle Peter, and he did the things that in the beginning he was still kind of, because he didn't want to he didn't want to be with the Gentiles. He didn't want to be with the Gentiles.
No, that part.
You read your Bible. He didn't want to be with the Gentiles. Paul had to rebuke him about that.
Yes.
Paul had to rebuke him and let him know, no, you can't be like this. And then that's when he professed that, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I know that I got some things I need to work out because
issues.
He came for all of us.
Yes.
Jews and the Gentiles.
Yes.
And it's not just, but he want to sit with them at the dinner table. He didn't want to sit with them. He didn't want to do that which, God called him to do. But he, in realizing this, once he got to a place where he could remove everything that would so easily beset him, he was able to do that which God called him to do.
Yes.
To the point where when it came down to it, he was crucified too.
Yes.
He was crucified too. So he got back to that place where he could say, I'll die for you, because that's exactly what he did. He died for Christ. He died for Christ's sake. He died for Christ's sake. But he had to get back to that place. Because he was in that place. But when he was in that place in the beginning, it was a self thing. It was a selfish thing. It was an I thing. I can do this. I can do this. I'm not going to leave you. I ain't going to forsake you. I'll kill for you. I'll die for you. And I guess he tried to prove it when he cut the soldier's ear off. But that wasn't the right instance for that neither. Jesus was like, that ain't what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about that. That's not what I meant by that. I want you to do this the right way. I want you to. And Peter was so awesome as an apostle for God. Once he removed that which would delay him. If he never denied Jesus, if he never denied him, if he never went through that process, he would have still had that whole self.
Uh-huh.
That selfish zeal. That oh, yeah, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's to be seen, sometimes it's to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, that's not how God, He wants to be able to use us. But He can't freely use us if we have the tendency to always try to fix things or always try to, which really always messing up stuff.
Yes.
Always tearing up stuff.
Yes.
Always meddling. Always doing that which He ain't called us to, but we gonna try to fix it. No, I didn't say for you to fix
Yes,
it.
yes,
It's not
yes.
for you to fix. It's not for you to fix. You're not gonna be able to fix
Uh-huh.
it. And He's taught me this, and I had to go through this process because I was thinking, well, you know, the word, the message came to me, Tashi. This is going to be dependent upon your relationship with God.
All right.
The only way you're going to get out of this situation is with your relationship with God. It's
Yes,
going to be dependent
yes.
upon that.
All right.
But I was like, well, you know, they said at the courthouse, if I do this, then I'll be able to get my license back. So I went and I did that, and that was the wrong thing
Mm-hmm.
to do. And it just spiraled. It just kept adding, building. And so now I'm at a place where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation. But I'm not going to worry about it because I cannot fix
Mm-hmm.
this. There is nothing that I can do to fix it. And there's nothing that a lawyer can necessarily do to fix this.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be dependent upon
On God. Yes, yes.
And I'm going to have to make sure that I am in a place where everything is going. Now, your everything might necessarily be anything. We always think of sin as these big things that have to be removed and everybody doing all the big stuff that everybody know about. No.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No. Just the whole and the awesome thing about God is He'll let you know this is right, because in Friday night lesson talked about Gideon,
Uh-huh.
and he talked about disunity and individualism
Yes.
and independence and I
Yes,
and
yes.
me, and if it's not for me, then it's not going to happen, and that's not, because it falls into pride, and pride is a sin. And pride goes before the fall.
That's it.
So it's not these real big things that we always think of a big thing or a big situation. It's as simple as telling a little white lie. It's as simple as not doing what we know we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as the Lord whispering to you, telling you to go talk to somebody and you didn't talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as, because He needs us to be able to listen to His voice.
Yes, yes.
He needs us to be able to be in a place where He can respond, where we respond when He gives us instruction, and we respond.
Yes.
This is a battle.
Yes.
Going back to the top, this is a battle.
Yes.
In the process of a battle, and when you have that top secret information, the people that have that top secret information, they can't tell everybody that information.
That's right.
That's not something that they can tell them. They are only allowed to give out the information that is not classified. If it is not classified, then I can give you the information that's not classified. Based on your clearance is what I can give you.
Yes.
So based on your clearance is what I can tell you. But you have to be in a place where you can get to a place where the Lord can trust you with His most
All right.
secret strategy, with His most intimate details about Him, with His most intimate information. And if He can't trust you with it, because you're not going to do with it what you're supposed to do with it, then I can't tell you. I can't give that to you because you're not going to do it.
Yes.
And I asked you to talk to Sister so-and-so. And you didn't do it.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted you to do it. Now, yes, I could send somebody else to talk to her. I could send somebody else, but I want you to talk to her.
Yes.
I want you to talk to her.
Yes.
And sometimes we get so intimidated by different situations that the Lord puts us in when we really don't even have to be intimidated by it. Sometimes all we have to do is walk up to the person and say hello. didn't give me any information. He didn't tell me anything. But the woman begins to talk.
Mm.
I ain't said nothing. I said good morning.
Mm-hmm.
But that was an instance for me to minister to her.
Yes.
Now, if I don't take that opportunity, then that is my fault.
Uh-huh.
That is on me because I didn't do it. And so many times we shut ourselves up because we're in a hurry, we're in a rush. It's in the morning, I got to get to work. I don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
This I don't have time for. I don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm in a place that, well, I can't really, you know, if I say something about God, I'm going to get in trouble at work, and I can't really do that. I can't really do that, and I can't really say. But we have to get to a place where it's like, look, I'm going to tell you.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to tell you what thus saith the Lord.
Yes.
Everybody don't know. And it's sitting in the midst, and I'll give an instance, it's sitting in the midst during that time at work, and different ones are talking, and they're talking about different things. And one young lady, she's married, and she was upset with her husband, and she'd been going off on him in text message. And she was mad at him, and she was really angry at him because he was spending money, and he kept spending money. And, you know, and she was really angry. And it was his birthday, I guess, a couple of days before. And she proceeds to talk about how I guess she had already bought him the gifts, but she fussed at him on his birthday. And she just all of the different things that she said and she shared. And I said, let me tell you something. And I didn't give where the scripture was found. I just said the scripture. And I let her know. Like, no, you're going to have to submit to your husband. You're going to have to do this a different way. Now, is what he's doing wrong? Yeah, it probably is. But how you're handling it, that's not how you handle it. Because if you don't handle it in the right way, y'all going to keep on arguing, y'all going to keep on fussing, y'all going to keep on fighting, and he's going to keep on doing it. He's going to keep on doing it because you keep on fussing at him. You keep on screaming and hollering. I'm like, you sitting here, y'all texting, and you being mean in the text messages, just going off on him. And his responses were pretty mild, in spite of her going on. But he says mean things, but two wrongs don't make no right.
That's right.
I said, you're going to have to draw this horn with honey. You're going to have to be sweet to your wife.
Yes.
I said, my auntie taught us that we have to be kind and that we have to practice. That's what First Lady that says. We have to practice.
Yeah.
And that's something we as ladies have to practice. So I had to talk to her. But that was God that had me talk to her. He gave me the words to say because I really, I knew what to say. And I just say whatever. But it's more effective when we speak, when God wants us to speak, and we say what He wants us to say, and we're cunning and we're wise in what we say and how we say it, and we do things in a way which it'll draw the person and it won't run them away. And even if they don't believe and they cuss and they fuss and they whatever, but they'll begin to watch themselves around you, and they'll begin to do things different around you, and they'll begin to operate around you differently. But when we blend in, it's true. When we blend in, He doesn't want us to blend in.
No.
We weren't meant to blend in. We were meant to stand out. Peter stood out in everything that he did. Even when he tried to blend in, he couldn't blend in.
No, that's right.
He was trying to blend in because there was soldiers standing around this fire. The people that just arrested Jesus was standing there. So he was scared. But that wasn't the time to be scared.
No.
That still wasn't the time to be scared. He had to get rid of fear. Fear was present in this situation. Cowardness was present in this situation. The boldness that he always displayed was gone in this situation. There was no boldness until he got to the point where he wanted to cuss everybody out. Then he was bold again. Like, didn't I tell you so and so and so and so? And let me tell you, and I said I don't know him, and I don't know why y'all keep bothering me. But where did this little girl come from that keep telling me you was with Jesus? I saw you with Jesus. Move, girl. You don't know what you're talking about. And he had to get rid of that.
Yes.
So that when it came time for him to speak before the people, when it came time for him to do that, that's why his First Peter, I believe it is, talks about submitting.
All right.
Submitting and being humble.
Yes.
Why do you think he talked about that all? Because that's what he had to learn to do.
Yes.
He had to learn to submit. He had to learn to be humble.
Yes.
He had to learn all of those things. And the things that he learned, he was able to talk about it because he had did it.
Yes.
He had been through it. He had done it.
That's right.
So he had to be able to tell us, you gotta be submit. Everybody gotta submit. The servants gotta submit. The husband gotta submit. The wife gotta submit. Everybody gotta submit. Submit. Be humble. Be humble. Be humble.
Submit.
Amen.
That's right.
Because if you're humble, there is no self. There is no self in humility.
Yes.
Self is not present in humility. Self isn't present in humility. It can't be present in humility. You can't be humble and then be selfish at the same time. It don't work.
No.
It's not gonna work. You're just gonna end up being selfish. You're just gonna end up being self-contained.
All right.
And when we're self-contained, we can't help anybody because we're self-contained.
All right. All right.
And the things that God wants us to do, and the people that are getting ready to come into this place and fill this temple, we have to be humble. We have to be humble. We have to be submitted unto the man of God, and we have to be submitted unto God.
Yes.
Because the way this world is going with these selfish, self-righteous people and these children that don't want to listen to their parents and bucking against their parents, don't want to listen to authority, don't want to listen to nobody. You can't tell me what to do. Who are you? Children slapping teachers and beating up teachers and fighting teachers, and don't nobody want to be a teacher no more. Don't nobody want to teach. Everybody that's going to school, I ain't going to be no teacher yet. I don't want to be with these kids. These kids around here, I don't want to be with you. Give me something else to do. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing this one. And it's not starting when they get in high school, or when they get in middle school, and when they get in elementary school. It started right there in the preschool I'm at. Where these kids don't want, and they'll tell you, you ain't gonna know. I'm not your mama, but you're gonna sit here, and you're gonna listen. And you're not gonna put your hands on anything.
Yes.
And you're not gonna, because I can't put them in timeout. I can't do anything to these kids. I can't pick them up. If they go to hit somebody, I can't stop them from hitting them. I have to let them hit them and then talk to them about what they did. I can't break it up. Because if I break it up, then DCFS is going to come. Because their mama going to call